Wally Oppal, thanks for joining me here.
My
You
pleasure.
have a fascinating job. How do you describe what you do for work as a career?
Well, I'm a lawyer at Boughton Law. I do mediations and arbitrations, but because of my background as a judge of the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal, I was there for 23 years, and then I was the Attorney General for 4 years, and I've been involved in 4 policing inquiries. People think I know a lot more than I do, so I get asked to express opinions on things. I've been lucky in that I got involved in a lot of different issues. The policing area is one. I did the first inquiry in 92 to 94, and that led to a lot of changes in policing. The public accountability, the Office of the Public Complaint Commissioner came out of those recommendations that we made. The area of violence against women and how the police treat violence against women came out of that inquiry. The diversity of policing that we encourage. So a lot of things came out of that, and then I was fortunate enough to be the Attorney General, and we got involved in the Jakanski case came out of when I out of there when
at
I
Vancouver
was,
Airport. Yeah.
right, and I was the Attorney General when we appointed Tom Braidwood to do the inquiry, and then I was also involved in the commission into the. I got a brain lock here.
The Robert Picton.
No, Robert Picton.
Yeah.
That came after I was.
Oh, did it? Oh, okay.
After I left the left government, but
During your time in office. Yeah.
and the Aboriginal man who was left to die in the alley,
From Vancouver Police.
Police, and
yeah.
we ordered the inquiry in that. So we got involved in that. So there was a lot of wide range issues that I got involved in. But as far as my personal career is concerned, I've been at sort of the right place at the right time, and I got involved in these things, and I didn't have any kind of game plan.
So what does it take to head up an inquiry? What kind of skill set do you have to bring to it, and what would a day look like?
Well, there's no end to what you're doing when you're doing an inquiry. I mean, when we did the Picton inquiry, it went on for 2.5 years. We had to write the report. We were working day and night, particularly in writing the report. And we had 93 days of public hearings. We heard from over 100 witnesses. We did 2 tours of the north when I went into the villages along Highway 16, the Highway of Tears. Mm-hmm. And we listened to the Aboriginal communities to listen to their complaints and their wants. And so it's a horrendous. Then we went through 60,000 pages of police documents to find out what happened to the investigations.
So there's a tremendous amount of investigation,
Right.
asking questions, gathering information.
Right. We were asked to determine why did it take so long for the police to catch Robert Picton, and why did the murders why did they go on unabated? Picton admitted killing 49 women. We think he killed a lot more than that. So why did he do these and get away with it under the eyes and noses of the police? And so we had to find that out, and it was tough. The most difficult part was listening to the tragic circumstances of the women who came before us, and it was heart-wrenching evidence to listen to that. So it was, and I admire the courage of the women, the courage of the Aboriginal communities, and the vulnerable women who came before us to testify as to what took place. So you have to have an understanding,
right,
and some kind of compassionate outlook towards
So
it.
I'm imagining that you would have long days. You're having to travel, and you're hearing this gut-wrenching testimony. What is it that helps you, when you're in that situation, keep moving forward? Because I'm sure that it must be very, very challenging. When I take a look at the people who worked on the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, they were devastated by the testimony that they were hearing. How do you keep going? Where do you find that inner resolve?
You just have to keep pushing yourself. It's not easy. You lose sleep at nighttime. Even now, I think of some of those women who disappeared in the Picton years, and I can go over some of the names of the women. I have a large poster of women. There's a lot of pictures on the poster, and I look at those women. They could have been anybody.
Yeah.
And what disturbed me was not only the errors that were made of the police. The errors that were made of the police were honest errors that they made, and they miscalculated the lay of the land. But the public indifference at the time. The media was very vigilant when all the women were going missing from the downtown east side. And they published many articles, Lindsay Kynes and Laurie Culbert and Kim Boland. They did great work, journalistic work, investigative work, but the public generally ignored it.
Yes,
I said in many times in public that had any one of those women come from the west side of town, the University District, the reactions of the public would have been quite different. Instead, they were vulnerable women. We called our report Forsaken because those women were forsaken. And that was very disturbing to me, to listen to all of the evidence, and young women who were gone forever. And young women could have been anyone, from anyone's community, would have been anyone's daughters, anyone's nieces. And it's just tragic what happened.
So you wound up in a unique position in the sense that you have headed up a number of inquiries or commissions. When you look back at your early career, what were some of the elements and decisions that you made that put you in the appropriate position to be chosen for that role?
I don't.
Number one, you studied law.
I was a lawyer, and I was a prosecutor when I came out, and I prosecuted a lot of serious cases, and I happened to be in the right place at the right time. The government of the day in the 90s picked me to do the inquiry on policing, and I had a very good team, and we did a great job. And I say we did a great job because most of our recommendations were put into legislation or policy. And, we made a lot of recommendations, and there were not many that were discarded. Similarly, the Picton recommendations that we made, for instance, the police now have to investigate all cases where there is a report of a missing vulnerable person. Before, in the Picton years, the police could very easily say, look, anyone can go missing. You want to go missing? It's not unlawful to go missing.
Right.
But
you could be in Port Alberni or
that's right.
Timbuktu.
I'm 21. I can go missing if I want.
Yeah.
And there's no crime against going missing. But if there's a report of a missing person, and that person is vulnerable, a drug addict, maybe in the sex trade business, it's the legal obligation of the police now to conduct an investigation and to report back to the families. Similarly, it's now mandatory for police under the current communication system to share information. Because what happened in Picton was the women were going missing in the downtown east side of Vancouver, and they were being murdered in Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam. So different police forces.
Yes.
And had they shared information at the proper time, a lot of lives would have been saved. So those are things that now are mandatory. And I'm confident that the police, because of our recommendations, will change some of the ways that they conduct investigations.
So there's some things that just sort of make sense, that you need to work hard. You need to be diligent. You have to use your brain.
Yeah.
You have to be, disciplined and so on. How important was that to you in your career? Like when you were young, how focused and determined were you to ensure that you would be able to have the best possible career?
That's good. I grew up poor. My dad died when I was 10 years old. So my mother was an immigrant woman, spoke very little English. So she was left to raise my brother and myself. She went to work as a housekeeper. And she had an incredible work ethic. She's still alive. We think she's between 102 and 104.
Wow.
And so she wanted to make sure that we had the same opportunities as everyone else. And we were taught that if we were going to succeed, that we were going to have to work hard. and she was a hard disciplinarian, and so that helped me a lot. And I was lucky. I went to small schools on Vancouver Island on Lake Cowichan. I grew up in the Duncan area, and I had jobs that I worked in lumber mills and logging camps that financed my education. So I was lucky to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, but it came down to a huge commitment on your behalf, this discipline and commitment to hard work.
Yeah, I had to work hard. I knew that nothing was going to come easy, and I had a lot of help, and I was at good law firms. I had really good help when I was a judge from senior judges, and so things worked out well.
Yeah, but that commitment to working hard, I think I want to make the point that hard work is hard work. It's not like you reach some threshold and all of a sudden you go, oh, now it's easy. I think that as you progress, it actually gets harder.
Absolutely, it does, because the expectations are higher. I mean, I still go into the office on weekends, because I get different challenges. So,
Yeah, well, thank you for coming in and sharing this.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Thank